What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Save and Sip, where we bring you financial sense in a social way. My name is Trevor Alexander, and I'm really excited about this episode where we'll be covering a few things. But the theme of today's episode is really about increasing your income. At Save and Sip, if you're not familiar, we talk about finances, personal finances, credit, budgeting, investing. But one thing people fail to realize sometimes is that in order to do better at investing or do better at budgeting, sometimes you got to look at where you're at and realize you have to make more money, increase your income. And if you're working a 9 to 5, that's probably a great place to start. Sometimes even before your side hustles, because you can take different steps to increase your income. So with no further ado, I'm very excited. My guest today, Jonathan Wilkerson, will be drinking on a couple Chardonnays. One, we have Insomnia, and also we have a Robert Mondavi Chardonnay, Woodbridge. And we're going to just be having a conversation around increasing your income, IT and cloud, all these different industries that are really attractive and allow you to make money. So no further ado, my boy Jon, that I've known for 15, 20 years, I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself. And Jon, what's your name and where you from, and what's your current job role, bro?
Thanks, Trevor. It's an honor to be here. Thinking back, and I guess we'll touch on this later, never thought I would be, on a platform like this telling my story. I'm born and raised in Virginia, Norfolk to Northern Virginia, Alexandria, Woodbridge, Dumfries. Been everywhere. At this point in time, I'm a cloud engineer. Focusing on AWS technologies, and then it's an exciting field, and an exciting subset of IT.
Facts, man. Where you go to school at?
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion Monarchs in the building, man. ODU. And what you study there?
At Old Dominion, I'm double majored in criminal justice and sociology.
For sure. So Jon and I, we were roommates for a majority of college. I mean, we went to high school for a while together, and going back before then, Jon's an interesting story because he recently made a career change, and I talked to a lot of people who are either not happy with the amount of money they make or looking to pivot, and this can apply to whatever you do. It's probably something you can do to increase your salary, whether that's go back and study for a certification, gain some skills. And this episode will be a lot around IT because I'm in IT. Jon mentioned he's a cloud engineer. I'm a network engineer, and it's a lot of intertwining. So we're going to break down some things in the IT industry, things you can do to increase your salary, or like in Jon's case, if you don't even have a degree in this particular field, the steps you can take to get yourself in the field and step up your game. So yeah, man, for sure. So all in all, let's talk about IT. IT is a really large industry that has a lot of smaller segments. You got software engineers. These are people that program and code. You have network engineers. They're the people that make the internet run, per se, dealing with routers and switches. You have people that deal with hardware, and like Jon mentioned, he's on the cloud side with Amazon. So what is the cloud to you? Let's break down what is the cloud even, what made you attracted to it, and when you decided to go towards IT, why the cloud?
With the cloud, it's, I guess, a set of servers that you can reach over the internet. Because traditionally, you'll have your physical servers maybe in a data center. You'll have to maintenance them, check on them. With the cloud, all of that is over the internet. You got your application servers, database servers, and your storage, everything that you have, and you can reach them over the internet. And it's a beautiful thing with the cloud because it's pay as you go. Physically, you say you want 1,000 servers, you have to buy 1,000 servers, and you don't even end up using all of them. Mm-hmm. With the cloud, you know how much you need, and you can pay for that as you go. You want to scale up, you can do that. And by scale up, I mean, hey, we got 10 servers, we might end up needing 12. Mm-hmm. You can get 2 more servers and pay for them. You don't have to pay for 12 and end up needing 10. So that's a beautiful thing about the cloud.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think people really understand, especially if you're not in the space, how powerful IT in the cloud is, we are really familiar with the big companies, Facebooks, Amazons, Netflix, and this stuff just doesn't happen out of thin air. It's not magic. You know, people's jobs are to make sure the internet, these apps that they run, and the cloud has become really popular because it's allowed these big companies to offload all the maintenance. So when you talk about servers are literally the way people are able to access information, to whether you're in HR, whether you're in accounting, whatever you do, you're probably pulling information from somewhere. That's what a server is. It runs a service to get you information. Now companies started to realize that we have all this equipment, we're storing all of this data. Just imagine if in your house you had 100 computers because everybody needed to get something from your house. So you had all of these computers and you said, you know what, I'm tired of managing these computers myself. I'm gonna have another company manage these computers. That's where Amazon steps into play. Amazon is the largest company in the world right now. And not only are you able to order books and order clothes and anything you want possibly off of Amazon, it's a whole nother component of Amazon that's their most profitable leg, and that's Amazon Web Services. And that's where a lot of this conversation is going, because that's what Jon is. He's a cloud engineer specializing in Amazon Web Services tools. They're huge. Most of the services you watch, like Netflix, all of their movies and streaming run on top of Amazon Web Services on their servers. So just understand that the cloud is really huge, and not only that, it's not as difficult to get into as you think. And that's why we're talking about this is a lucrative field, because a lot of people either don't know how to do it or don't know where to start. And this episode is going to give you some insight to if you're already in IT and want to go towards cloud, or if you aren't in the field at all and want to take the right steps. I'm going to pick Jon's mind to make that happen. So a lot of people start with certifications, right?
Right, for sure.
Certs are huge. I have my PMP, that's like a project management certification, meaning you can manage projects. I have a Security Plus, and Jon does as well. What's some of the certs you started with when you decided to make the transition from criminal justice into IT?
Just thinking about it, I said, hey, I need certifications just to kind of solidify myself, as an IT professional, somebody that looked like they were taking, the profession serious, mm-hmm. and to expand my learning. So, I started off with AWS, since they're the leading cloud provider. Started off with AWS Solutions Architect Associate. And from there, I also got the AWS Certified Developer Associate. Circled back, got Security Plus, because that's that's a very important cert to have, base level knowledge, and now I just recently earned my AWS Solutions Architect Professional, which is a big deal in the cloud space.
That shit is a real big deal. Let's pour up something to that, man. Man, sure. Jon almost done, man. We saving and sipping. It's a little hot in here. I ain't gonna hold you.
Appreciate that.
So he just dropped 4 or 5 certs that he got in. Over the course of how many months or years did you get all of these? And did you do it at a normal speed, or what are you seeing?
I wouldn't say a normal speed. I've gotten all 4 of them in about maybe a year and about 2 months.
Okay, a year and 2 months.
And they've all pretty much, I would get one and I would get started working on the next one. Mm-hmm. Which isn't normal from what I've seen. A lot of the individuals I work with, they don't place a lot of importance on certifications, or they just can't get in the habit of studying for them. They also cost money, so not everyone's willing to pay for them. On
average, how much do you pay? What's the cheapest cert you've had to buy, and what's the most expensive?
With the associate level AWS certs, you pay $150.
Okay.
Stepping it up to professional, those are $300. Mm-hmm. And Security Plus is also $300. Yeah. Or 300 and some change, something like that. So they aren't cheap, but they pay dividends once you successfully earn them.
Yeah, no, that's real. Return on investment. We talk about finances in this episode. I really wanted this episode to happen. I'm glad it is, because it's a true testimony of getting a return on your investment. If you watch previous episodes, we talk about the stock market. putting in $1,000 and getting back 10%, or putting in $100,000 and getting back 15%. Whatever your return on investment is, that's what money in business really comes down to. And we talk about certifications. Jon paid $300 out of his pocket for his Security Plus. So did I. That return on investment, you take $300 and that could increase your income by $10,000, $15,000, $20,000.
Yeah, I mean, depending, it could be more than that,
More than that.
Coming from a traditional, sociology, criminal justice background, coming out of college, on average, people are making $45,000, $50,000. You get AWS certified, you transition, you get some experience, you show employers that you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can start out, doubling that.
Yeah.
So that's a real great opportunity there.
It's a real return on investment, and that's so big in today's world where entrepreneurship is very important. I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is key, but you got to realize that you can work a 9 to 5. You can start your own side gig. You can do many things at once, but it really comes down to what's your return on investment. If you're working as an entrepreneur and you're taking 2 years to turn $1,000 into $2,000, well, keep going. But if you're not putting any work into your 9 to 5 or realizing the opportunities out there, such as taking a certification, and this isn't just IT. This is just a prime example of someone that saw an opportunity and made the pivot to take advantage of it. But getting a return on investment from a $300 exam, putting in some sweat equity, some hours, and then being able to double your income or increase $20,000, $30,000, that's a hell of a return on investment. So that's the point that we're really making there. The amount of time it took you to study for them. I know you got 4 or 5 certifications in the past year. Like, how long did you sit down and study for the Security Plus? Like, how many hours did you say you put into that test?
Well, I studied for about 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But it was every day. Every day I would make sure, I touched, some aspect of the curriculum for the test. Mm-hmm. Just to keep it fresh in my mind, because that's a huge test. A lot of terminology, a lot of different things to know. So, the way I think about it when it comes to certifications is every day. Whether it's 30 minutes, a couple of hours.
Yep.
Every day is different. You might not have the time, but every day, keep that information fresh, and it'll pay dividends when it comes to take the test.
No, that's real. That's real. So once again, IT in particular is huge, and the Security Plus is a baseline certification that shows you've gained the knowledge to talk a little bit about things within that realm. So security, if you want an entry level job into cybersecurity, maybe networking, system administration, Google these terms that we're saying, and you'll realize how much falls under them. But the Security Plus is looked at as I think a level 2, what they call a level 2 certification from like the government standpoint, the Department of Defense. And so you can get the certification without having much experience, little to none, honestly. And someone that is looking to hire people might say it's a requirement that you had the certification before we can bring you onto this job, before your hands can even touch a keyboard. So just by you taking those 6 weeks of study, getting that certification, you become more attractive to the industry. The reason that IT, cyber, cloud, all these things pay so much is it's supply and demand. Finance and economics is what Save and Sip talks about. We like to do it over a drink of Chardonnay, of Hennessy, of anything, some grapes and crackers. But it really comes down to just that, and that is supply and demand. When things are needed, people will pay a whole lot more money to get that thing. And right now, there's a huge gap in talent when it comes to technical IT talent. There are thousands and thousands of jobs in America that aren't filled because people just don't know how to do the jobs, or don't take 6 weeks to study for the test to at least show they're serious enough to get that basic knowledge and get that. So that's why these jobs pay so much. Some are hard, yeah. Some are not that hard. Some of you just got to get in and learn. But because there's such a gap, America, the government, employers are willing to pay a lot of money to people who take that step because we need it. we need cybersecurity. We have to protect our infrastructure. We have to understand how to put things into the cloud. So yeah, just know if you're watching this, you can be that person to push your heads down, buckle down, and get these certifications, because I mean, Jon is a living testimony of just that. So, all right, so you got these certs, and you got a little bit of job experience. Like, what was the interview process like? I mean, were you scared going into them? Did you feel like the certs were enough to prepare you, or did you?
Yeah, I mean that's tough. You go into these interviews for AWS positions, cloud positions, and there's a technical component to it. So I was a little bit nervous. I took the certifications, I passed. But you gotta be able to talk the talk, in the interviews, and that's where getting your hands dirty, on your own, when you're not, I guess, studying for the test, building something on your own, that comes to help you in the interviews. Do you know how things work together cohesively? And you just gotta relax. Sometimes, just going to get the certification will speak volumes, to an interviewer. So you might not have all the answers on the interview, but they see that you went, took the test, paid for it. And you got it,
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they'll notice that, and they know, what kind of character comes with that, and they'll take a chance on you, or they'll figure they can teach you the rest, or they can let you grow. That's why the certifications are so huge, man. They don't necessarily say you're an expert, but they show that you're willing to put in the work, put in the effort, to be better, and contribute.
Because I mean, for most jobs, I mean, I'm gonna take a couple approaches with this. With most jobs, it's not like day one, especially if you're not a 10 or 20 year veteran. They're not gonna expect you to walk in the door knowing everything, right?
No.
You usually gonna have a project or a team. If you at your work, you're usually gonna have a team. You're not just gonna throw you in the water and say, build this by yourself. So typically you get a little bit of time to figure out what needs to be done, the requirements. You can Google some stuff. You can keep building your knowledge after you got that certification, right?
Right.
Not just thrown inside the trenches.
Yeah, you build your knowledge. You learn. The environment, how things work. But also, that same, approach you took to the certifications, that's what they want to see after they hire you.
Facts.
Because you're going to come across a lot of services in the cloud, or, a lot of technologies that you might not be familiar with. So they want to see, you just go in head first, trying to, figure it out, and come to a solution.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, just putting in the work, putting in the effort, and going full steam ahead.
Yeah. And sometimes you gotta just be ready. The difference between, I mean, we both graduated college 4 or 5 years ago. We're not 30 years into our career. And one thing I really realized is that when you're in college, you get deadlines, you get dates. You have professors that are gonna say, do this by this date, and people are procrastinators by nature. If you get 2 weeks to take a test, it's called Parkinson's Law, matter of fact. Parkinson's Law is something I remember from college, and what it means is if someone gives you a task, and that task really might take you 1 hour to do, but they give you 2 weeks to do it, the time is going to expand. A task is going to expand to the time allotted for it. A task is going to expand to the time allotted for it. So if something takes you 1 hour to do, and someone gives you 2 weeks to do it, you're going to take 2 weeks to do that task. Most people aren't going to just knock it out. And when you graduate from college, or even if you didn't go to college, and no one's telling you to do it right away, well, hell, you can look up 20 years can pass, and you just never scheduled that test. You never took that certification because you didn't set a deadline. So, like, did you eventually kind of just set deadlines, like, or did you put dates in your mind, like, I gotta have it by June 15th or September 31st, or I don't know if it's 31 days in September, but I don't know, that's extra. But
yeah, I mean, it's sort of like that. You kind of feel when you're ready. There's so many resources out there where you can take practice exams. And it depends on the person. Some people can set a date 3 months out and work towards that. really subscribe to that. I'm kind of, I get my feet wet. I start learning, the content, whatever's going to be on the test. And from there, when I'm taking tests or, is it really clicking, I'll start thinking about dates where I can take the test. And that works for me. But everything, everybody is different, and you got to figure out what works for you.
Facts. Right. So these certs. So you got 4 or 5 certs. I got 3 or 4 certs. So between us, we got about 10 certs. Jon's specialty is in Amazon Web Services right now. He narrowed in, and that's one thing. People come to me sometimes and say, "Yo, Trev, I'm trying to move into IT," and I say, "Well, be more specific. Do you want to start at the help desk level, or do you want to go right into cybersecurity?" Because honestly, if you do your work, if you get your certs, if you study and make up your mind on what you want to do, then you're specific, and there's a job out there for you. So be very specific. That's one thing I noticed Jon did. He said, I want to move towards cloud, and that's what he did. Jon knows a lot about cloud. I've been on the networking side for 5 years. There's a lot of overlap right there, but it's two different job roles really. So in these certifications that we study for, he went the Amazon Web Services route. They're the largest provider. Everybody knows Amazon. It's a household name. But back to these certifications, what was the study material that you used? Did you go buy books online? Did you buy a course? Where'd you get this stuff from?
Usually, I'll scour Udemy. Udemy has a ton of great resources. A lot of great people.
Udemy. That's UDEMY.com, right? UDEMY.com.
Yep. They had a lot of people who are experienced, or you would call them subject matter experts. Have courses on there when it comes to IT technology. So if you're trying to study for AWS Solutions Architect Associate, to be even more specific, I know there's a company, A Cloud Guru, Linux Academy. Wiz Labs. Those are some of the things that I use, to study. And also, AWS. If you Google, certain services for AWS, they have, documentation for just about everything.
Facts.
So reading through that, can really help you on exams. Help you in your day-to-day, actually, working through, problems, figuring out how a service works, and even more like granular detail. So if you do those things, the test, you'll be plenty familiar, and you'll have success.
Yeah, that's real. It's so much content out here. We're in a day and age, it's 2020, where if you say the information, if you can't find information, then you're not looking hard enough. You got Google at your hand, you got social media, you got people, you have LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn, and join groups, find people that work these job roles that you're interested in, regardless of the field, and find out what they did. Jon just named several sites that he used. Myself, I ordered some textbooks off of Amazon, off of Boardman and Barnes and Noble. Use Udemy. While you're driving, when I got my PMP, I was literally working in IT. I was working part-time as a server at a restaurant. I was a terrible server, but I was trying to learn some stuff while being a server, and I was literally walking around taking people's orders and just writing down my PMP notes. So you got to find time, and that's what we're gonna make sure we touch that in this conversation about just sitting down and finding that time, even if it's 30 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, an hour, whatever fits your schedule. So yeah, certs are huge. Find the material. The material might cost you $20, $50. You may spend a few hundred, but once again, it's all about the return on the investment that you're looking for in your career, so that you can get that money, you can increase your income, and then you can do some of these things that might seem more difficult, like invest in the stock market or make a big flip or buy that dream home you're looking for, or just do more risky things with your money. It's hard to budget when you're penny pinching, and that's just the fact of the matter. You know, if you're not in a field that is high demand, or if you're in a field if you're not in the field that's high demand, then you're not going to make that much money unless you're really good at what you do, or you got a good amount of experience. That just makes sense. If you're a new teacher, why should you be getting paid as much as the principal? The principal put in work. So you gotta observe your environment and figure out where you get in. IT is not for everybody. We're not making this video to say go be a cloud engineer. You might have a different passion, but just once again, just realize how you can increase your income either at your 9 to 5, your side hustle, by just exploiting opportunities for real. So yeah, man. I mean, so what's next for you in that standpoint? Are you just like, you got some more certs on your mind? Is it the field you just continuously learning? We so young.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love AWS. You know, and the opportunity is given me, you know, to learn exciting technologies. And you see the reward, like, I mean, like we've been talking about, you know, you get these certifications, you know, you get to have conversations with employers, you know, and, you know, you're talking about salaries you may or may not expect it, right? Or opportunities you may or may not expect it, which is awesome. So, you know, for me, you know, it's continuing to get AWS certifications, and, you know, there's things like Linux. You know, I don't want to make this too technical, but you know, Linux. You know, other things that, you know, on top of AWS. You know, you learn those things. You know, you really become, you know, a hot prospect, somebody that, you know, companies are reaching out to constantly, and you have options. You know, which everybody wants. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, man. The more options, the better. And another thing I realized is when you challenge yourself to study something that is not in your normal field, or maybe it is something you're interested in, and you just take the time to buckle down. When you learn one thing, you can learn most things. It's like my background is IT. Yeah, I just went back to school to do a focus in finance, but it was just like when you study something that's somewhat challenging. Like I talk to a lot of engineers, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I learned this too. I picked it up easy because I'm used to studying. And that can go for anybody in any field. If you went to college or didn't go to college, if you self-taught, you learn on YouTube University, and you take time to study something, you can pick up just about anything. It just takes some time. It takes looking at it every day. You know, if you hang around Spanish enough, you're gonna end up learning Spanish. You can't take a step back when you just indulge yourself in education, man. So yeah, man, that's really the theme of this episode. It was twofold. A lot of folks out there are interested in IT. We dropped some gems on whether you want to be in cloud and networking and cyber and software engineering and artificial intelligence. Did I forget a few? What, big data?
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Machine learning. There's a lot going on in tech, and it's making a lot of our lives easier. If you're watching this, it's probably through a social media, through YouTube. This is all driven by tech. This is all stuff that people have coded, that people have put on the cloud, and we see how tech is changing our lives. And to be real, you got to get in where you fit in, but you also got to just be realistic with yourself. A lot of jobs are going to be destroyed by tech. These things that people are making, you got to realize and look and say, my job, is this going to be around 5 years from now? If not, I need to start making sure I'm setting myself up to, you know, to still be marketable, to still be able to make money. And that's just what tech does. So yeah, man, it's a powerful field, but above all, it's a way to increase your income so that you can do many other things. So yeah, Jon, I appreciate you having this conversation, bro. Yeah, man, just if you ever have any more conversations about what we talked about, some certifications, some resources, you'll definitely be, feel free to share some of your links and stuff with it.
For sure. I don't have too much of a social footprint at the moment, but you can find me on LinkedIn, Jonathan Wilkerson. And of course, thank you, for having me on this platform, sharing my story. I gotta say, when we first graduated ODU, you were, a real inspiration. Information technology, you came out, Hewlett Packard, that was big, they were paying you good money, people saw that. And like I said before, other majors just aren't giving you that opportunity, other sectors aren't giving you that opportunity. So information technology, you know, and the different things that are inside of it, you know, and, you know, they give you a different outlook.
Oh, that's huge, bro. I appreciate that, man. So we're going to drink to that. Y'all keep grinding, keep working hard, increase your income. Start at your 9 to 5. 9 to 5s aren't whack. For real. It's some people making a serious bag out here, working 9 to 5, and you get good enough at what you do, you may not be working a whole 9 to 5. People will say, you know what, we're gonna pay you a lot of money to just make this happen. So once again, just keep, you know, follow your passion, but be realistic, make your money, increase your income so that you can do everything under the financial spectrum that you wanna do. So we're gonna save and sip to that. Thank you for catching us on this episode. Appreciate you, Jon, for dropping all this knowledge, and we'll see you soon. We out of here.
Damn, that was just about one take.
Yeah.
Bodied that joint.